Hi there, my beautiful beings. How are you today? So in this beautiful video, we wanted to talk more about empaths, psychics, mediums, healers, all these beautiful beings with amazing gifts in the world. What was coming through as I was going through that gorgeous video of we're not here to fix others and we're not here to heal others. So many of us in past lifetimes have been persecuted over and over and over again for speaking our truth, for using our beautiful gifts. To this day, one of my best friends with incredible psychic gifts is too scared to speak up. And I've had past lifetime regressions with this beautiful friend where I've seen her destroyed for her gifts. One of the past lifetime regressions that comes to mind, I'm not sure if it's in that book or if it came later. I think it was one that came later, after that book was finished, I mean. In a lifetime, this best friend of mine was my sister. And I had to witness her death. They were burning her as a witch, and I was holding her newborn baby. And I remember the first time I had that past lifetime regression, and I'm standing there holding her baby, and I'm watching her. And I couldn't stop saying I was sorry. You know, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I kept saying to her for weeks after I had that I couldn't save her, you know. I couldn't do anything. Because I was left behind to raise her daughter. You know, the baby she left me with. And if I were to have spoken, if I were to have said anything, I would have been killed with her, you know. And it just brought up so much for me throughout those weeks after, you know, that this was stuck in my system, you know, that I had never apologized to her for that. And I think for many of us, you know, there may still be a lot of these experiences caught in our system, you know, that haven't been released. They haven't been healed by us. And, you know, because they're still trapped in us, we pull back our gifts. We're too scared to use them, you know. I know at the time we had the same gifts, my beautiful sister and I. But when I was asked all the questions, I just denied that I knew what they were talking about. And I denied that I had anything to do with her. Because we lived, at that time, she was already married. She had this baby that had just been born. And I was living, we weren't living together. So it was easy for me to say that I didn't know what she was up to. You know, that I had nothing to do with what she was doing, you know. But she's always had these incredible psychic abilities. She can see things, you know. Beautiful information that comes through clearly for her, and she can see it. She can see things before they happen as well. You know, all these sorts of wonderful gifts. And, you know, so many of us, we've been through lifetimes like that, where either we've been destroyed, killed, however it is that you want to say it, for our beautiful gifts, because others are afraid of our gifts. They don't understand our gifts. They don't understand when we speak differently. And so to them we are strange, we are weird, we are different. And so often what is different is feared because we don't understand it. And so it is easier to fear it and try to destroy it than to just let it be. This is the human experience anyway. So know in your heart, perhaps with this video, you can sit with it today. Are you using your gifts to your full potential? Or do you feel that you're holding back? Do you feel there's a part of you that isn't fully yet in the experience of being who you are completely? So sit with yourself today with this beautiful video. Use this opportunity and ask yourself, am I using my gifts fully, completely? Or am I holding back? Feel into yourself where you are holding back. Again, for many of us, this can manifest as physical pain. My mum has incredible psychic gifts. You know, she saw Mother Mary when she was 5. And often, I remember in my childhood, my mum would say things. And days later, weeks later, what she had said would happen. Not an I told you so, you know, like parents do, oh, if you do that, I told you so, but just odd things here or there of, you know, this is going to happen to your aunt, or this is going to happen to, you know, there's just, she would see things before they'd happen. And occasionally she would let it out. Not very often, you know, but occasionally throughout my, you know, childhood, she would say something and it would stay with me. Like later it would happen and I'd be like, wow, she knew that was going to happen. She knew that, you know. But my mum, from the age of 5, when she lost both of her parents, says, because I asked her how far back this goes, my mum's been suffering from migraines her whole life. Migraines, that's this area. The third eye area. Our psychic abilities, because she's too afraid to use them. And again, just as I saw my sister being killed in a past lifetime for her beautiful gifts, perhaps my mother has been through the same many, many, many times before. Because we're not honored for our gifts. We're not praised for having these gifts. And as I mentioned in a previous video, I was already talking to Jesus at the age of 5. He was my invisible friend. But when I talked about him at home and when I said what his name was, I was shut down. My parents were worried. I mean, whose child talks to Jesus or says they're talking to Jesus, like having full conversations? They would see me out there talking, you know. And I was at that time an only child. My sister wasn't born until I was 5. But there was this fear that I would end up, you know, in a psychiatric ward or some place where, you know, they take people where this isn't normal. And so that's what I took away from that it's not something that is accepted in this world. It's not something that you come out and share because you're shut down. You're not allowed to talk about that. You're not allowed to say that anymore. Stop saying that. And then shortly after, my sister was born, and I felt like all of my mother's love and attention went towards her. So it was almost like, well, hang on, I've just expressed these are my gifts and I've been told not to use them, not to talk about them, not to share them. And now her love's been taken away. So to me, as a 5-year-old, that's what I understood, that when you share these gifts, that love is taken away. People turn their backs on you because they're afraid of it. They don't understand it. But how can we serve those who need us if we don't speak up? If we don't use our gifts? completely. Not just a little bit because, I only feel safe to share this little bit of me. I don't want to share any more than that. No, all of you. You will never feel fulfilled until you express all of you. Express everything. You know, to come out and say that I was speaking to Jesus when I was 5 is not an easy thing. But since my awakening, I've been shown many, many times that he's always been there. Always. Bless his heart. He's always been by my side, guiding. So, my beautiful beings, today is the day you get to sit with yourself and ask yourself, am I holding back? What is holding me back from being the love in this world that I came to be, however that looks? However that looks, because when we express our beautiful gifts, we show others what is possible. This is the gift you give to others. When you share your beautiful psychic abilities, you show others that this is possible for them too, because it is all spirit. We all have these beautiful gifts inside of us. Empaths seem to think this is a curse, that we can feel other people's energies. But the reason we feel it's a curse is because we take it on as our responsibility to fix that person or heal that person. It is not your job. But you can see that person as whole and complete, because that is who they truly are. You can see that person as spirit, as the beautiful unconditional love that they are, not this human experience. And when you look at it from that point of view, it is a gift, because you realize in every moment you chose to take on that energy. You felt it was your responsibility to take that off that person's shoulders and carry it on yours. And that was never your job. It was never your job to do that. Little fruit fly. So, my beautiful empaths, feel those energies, feel them. What do they feel like? Oh, you know, this brings back, I remember when I was in my early days of doing Reiki, and there was this one moment that almost broke me, you know, to the point where I almost gave up, like quit doing Reiki and walked away from it. At the time, I was doing this session for this person in America. And when I went in, it was the very first time that I was doing Reiki. It is in my book, in When Love Leaves, because I remember writing about it. I remember going in and all of my team was dressed in black. But it wasn't just that they were dressed in black. They came in as those Dementors. I think that's the name of them in the Harry Potter movies. Those black, shapeless, hooded things. All of them came in like that. And I remember feeling this incredible fear before the session. And I thought, the very first time I thought, you know what, I can't do this. I can't do this. I just didn't know what to make of it because it was the first time that it was showing up. But I just had this awful feeling inside that I shouldn't do this right now. So the first time I walked away from it. The second time I went through with it, and there was so much darkness. There was so much fear. So much going through that session. And then I remember running outside after I finished that session and lying down on my grass at the back, because I used to do a lot of Reiki on my grass in the backyard. And I would just lie there. And I called in my higher self, and I called in my team that now looked like they usually look, you know, because I was calling them in for me. And I asked, what is this? You know, is this a sign from you that I should stop doing this? Am I tampering with something that I shouldn't be? You know, like, am I playing with something I shouldn't be playing with, so to speak? You know. Anyway, so I was shown that day. There was two sides to that fear. One was that it was a test for me to see if I was strong enough to go through it. And when they said the word test, I understood straight away. You know, that test was if my faith was strong enough to know that they had my back, that no matter what we were going to go through, they were going to be there, you know, 100%. And I knew that. So I knew when I heard the word test, I was like, of course I trust you guys, you know. There's no doubt in my mind, you know, no doubt. And then the word fear came up, and I realized, yes, perhaps there was a fear on my part because I was new to it. I didn't know what to expect when I started Reiki, and I was learning about all these energies, including mine, you know, learning to feel them, learning to work with them, you know, all the information that comes up every time I'm in a beautiful session, how to process it, how to pass it on, you know, they were teaching me. Or what I learnt with time, I've been shown over many lifetimes, I have already been this incredible healer. So it wasn't a question of them teaching me, but of me remembering this gift. I've always had it. It's just remembering how to use it, you know. So the fear, eventually I was shown all those dark entities was of that being that was going through that session. All that fear was that person's fear, that darkness that I was feeling, that I was sensing. But what I learnt with time is that it doesn't matter what shows up, how it shows up. It is all spirit. And that no matter what, I'm always safe. I'm always safe because they're always there guiding me, you know, showing me. And the other beautiful thing that came through, you know, as I've been doing Reiki sessions, there have been a few sessions. One in particular, I remember, I'd brought in my team and I was just about to go in and say the person's name for the distance healing. And I remember this huge wall going up in front of me. And I couldn't see the person. Usually I have this clear vision of the person lying in front of me somehow, you know. All I need is a picture, a photo, I usually ask for, so I can see them clearly. And then I'll have them lying in front of me clearly. And it makes for a much stronger vision connection for me, you know. I get a lot better information, I guess, as well, you know. It's clearer. So that day I remember seeing the wall and I couldn't see this person's face. I had the photo, but I couldn't see the face for the life of me. And I've learned to trust that for whatever reason, I wasn't meant to do that session that day. I wasn't meant to see that person's energy. I wasn't meant to be entangled with that person's energy, because there's an entanglement that happens when you go in with your energy and their energy, because you're working with their energy. Of course, the two energies are going to be entangled. So they didn't want me, my energy, entangling their, you know. And the words I got later was, it's a trap from them. I don't know what it meant, but I know, because that had already happened before these dark entities. That's why I was like, what is this? And what is this that I'm feeling inside? Because that wasn't mine either, that awful feeling. You know, it was the fear of this other person, and it was so incredibly strong. You know, that's what I was feeling inside, and it just shook me because I'm like, I didn't realize it wasn't mine, you know, at the time. Like I said, we're entangled. I'm doing the session with her, and my energy's entangled with her, and I'm feeling all of that, you know. And the wonderful thing coming out of it later was, oh, okay, it's not mine. But I got to feel it anyway. You know, what does that fear feel like when you allow it to completely take over? You know, it was just amazing. But know in your heart that you do have spiritual beings on the other side guiding always. And with time, you can also learn to trust them. Trust. They've got your back. And whatever you go through, you are meant to go through. There's a reason for it. Perhaps it's a test to see if your faith is strong enough. You know? Nothing happens for no reason. So, my beautiful beings, we hope that this gives you peace of mind, that you have your gifts for a reason. You are meant to use them. We love you guys so much. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And we'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.